A young lady who was involved in the world of entertainment just like I was many, many years ago, going around the world and presenting some of the top leading music bands in the world, predominantly in the European sector. She joined MTV and she never looked back. This leading lady at the forefront of the entertainment industry, who converted to the most misunderstood and rapidly growing religion today. She has a book and she talks all about her journey from MTV to Mecca, from babe to burqa, as her good friend Bob Geldof calls it. Perhaps from entertainment to entertainment is another way of describing this journey that is both inspirational for anyone who is looking for meaning in life.
Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me, Kristiane. I don't know, for everyone who's not read the book, what I loved about it is it was completely non-scary, and I think as someone who's not a Muslim and I'm not religious at all, to me the whole subject can be quite daunting and quite scary. So what I loved about the book was it was very accessible and I could really understand that you're just a woman like anyone else embarking on this journey. And what I'd like to start talking about is...
So kind of you, such an honor to say that, really, thank you.
When you were a child, who did you look up to as a child? Were pop stars did you worship pop stars? Did you have posters on your wall? And if so, who were you in love with when you were younger?
You know, I didn't have as many posters on my wall actually as my sister did, but there was one who I really, really adored, and that was Prince. I was a total Prince fan in my teens, and then got to even meet the artist and all that, and met his manager, and in fact, you know, that was part of how I came to London. Through the manager of Prince, in fact. He put in
Steve Barnoli.
Yeah, that's right. So I love Prince, his music.
It's interesting you say Prince, because Prince was a strange mixture, really, of on the one hand very daring and very sexual, on the other hand a lot of his songs were about religion, the cross. He always talked about God. Do you think it's possible to have those two sides wrapped up in one person? Do you think it was genuine what he was bringing across?
You know, I find a lot of people who are very much into spirituality also very much have the other side to them. Actually, it goes together very well. Absolutely, why not? You see, in Islam, it's in fact focused in, within certain boundaries within marriage. But it's not a religion that denies physical pleasure at all. Just in the boundaries of marriage. So no, I think it does go together. I found it again and time and again, when I meet spiritual scholars and so on, and people. Yeah.
And when you first went to work at MTV, and I remember watching you on telly, I mean, you were just on the whole time. You were the face of MTV. And how did you find that world? Because we're hearing a lot now about sort of Jimmy Savile and DJs and the Rolling Stones writing songs about underage women. Did you find that world quite scary, or did you just sort of slip into it and love it? Or
Yeah, I think it was the latter, you know. I was 24 when I came to London, and I was a new chick in town and invited all the time to parties and going out, and one of my friends who was a bit of a partner in crime is here in the audience actually. No, we had a lot of fun, I must say, you know, at the time. But then, of course, doing it year in, year out, it all became also a little bit repetitive. You know, it was just music from morning to night. And in the evening when I went out and people asked me about what do you do? Oh, I'm a presenter on MTV. Oh, music. And then it was again, everybody loves music here. So it was talking about music all over again. So I was always talking about music, and you know, and that did get repetitive, and I was lacking mental stimulation, so to say. And certainly, you know, I felt dissatisfied, you know. Strangely enough, at the height of my career, I even felt not suicidal, but I felt depressed. You know, something was missing, and I couldn't really put my finger onto what that was. You know.
So, from a Western point of view, you had everything. You had fame, money, success,
European rights. You know, lots of friends.
But that didn't really make you very happy.
No, exactly. It didn't really. Something was still missing. You know, and I thought it was human love, but you know, a boyfriend or something, but. In retrospect, I realized that no human being really could have filled that void. You know, it was something else.
Were your family, what were you brought up as? Were your family religious?
No, they weren't. They're Protestants. I believed in God as a child, but religion didn't really feature much in our family at all. My grandparents were very religious, but you know, they'd already passed away, so we weren't taught religion, but I think I've inherited it from that part of the family, my thirst for the divine.
When you were feeling unhappy and unfulfilled, did you feel you didn't really have anyone to talk to? Who did you sort of talk about this with?
That's such a good question, you know. No, I didn't have anybody. You know, I didn't. At that time, you know, during the MTV days, no, I didn't talk to God then. No, I don't remember. I talked to God as a child, but I kind of lost that connection.
So was the first time, did you have an attitude, did you have sort of an opinion about Islam before you met Imran? In the news, did you watch it on the news? Did you read about what was happening in America?
You know,
were you interested?
Oh, well, you know what was happening in America? This was, remember, I met Imran in '92, so this was way before anything else. You know, yeah, there were certain suicide attacks, I guess, in Israel, Palestine, but no, I wasn't interested. It all passed me by. I had absolutely no idea. I wasn't taught Islam in school, beyond the absolute basics that I'd forgotten. You know, no, I really knew nothing about it. I just had this opinion, you know, it's another subject that didn't interest me, that it's something negative and are antiquated, and, you know, women are second-class citizens, and that's about it. You know, it's a strict book of rules, the Quran, and that's all I knew. Nothing.
So tell us how you met Imran.
Well, I met him at a dinner party. At a dinner party hosted by Susanna Constantine, and that's it. And he was my table partner. You know, I was sitting next to him, and he just had very different views about everything. You know.
Did he know who you were? Did he recognise you from?
No, he didn't, and I didn't know who he was. I had no idea that he just won the World Cup for Pakistan, and you know, he was really a national hero in his country. Because I am not raised with cricket, so you know, in Germany we don't have cricket. So no, and he never watched MTV, so he didn't know that I was a happening DJ at the time, VJ rather. So it was a good you know, connection that we had, very away from, you know, any fame or anything like that, and you know, and he just had a different attitude about everything. Even that night, this film Basic Instinct had just come out, and everybody was praising this film for being so daring, you know, especially with those sexual scenes, you know, being very provocative. And he said, no, this actually belongs to the private sphere. This is not, in Pakistan, in our country, this film would be banned. And people have lost a sense of shame. And, you know, this doesn't really, you know, it shouldn't be aired like this in public and so on, and it's actually a sign of a wider spiritual malaise, you know, morals malaise in Western society.
My sort of feeling is that, again, this is one area where Islam is misconstrued. But, you know, if we talk about Kabul under the Taliban, women could not wear heels, always to be covered up. That had the highest incidence of rape in the entire world. So it's not always the sight of a woman's flesh that inflames a man. It's, you could be completely covered up, he'll still rape you. What do you think about that?
Oh, it's shameful and just absolutely outrageous. You know, I do believe, obviously, it's a woman's right to decide what she wants to wear. You know, no one should tell a woman what to wear, neither the state, nor the husband, nor the family. And also, if a woman wants to cover up, you know, the state shouldn't say no, or she shouldn't be discriminated in the workplace, you see. So I'm feminist enough to definitely, you know, a woman should choose what she wants to wear, and whether she wants to dress or, you know, cover up or not.
Do you think you would have discovered Islam without Imran? Do you think you'd have got there sort of eventually?
Well, you know, if God wants to call you, He does, you know, so His tool was Imran, you know. I think if He had sent a long-bearded imam at the time, I probably wouldn't have even talked to him, you know, but God knows what He's doing, and He sent that cricketer, you know, handsome sports star at the time while I was working on MTV, and, you know, and he got me there, you see. But I must say I converted after our friendship was finished, you know, so I didn't convert for anybody.
No, but you had that discovery and education. You traveled to Pakistan.
He definitely introduced Islam to me, and he took me to Pakistan, where I had amazing encounters with, you know, very simple, very humble, extraordinary people, you know, who really touched me by their generosity and their warmth, you know, and how God features in their lives. You know, being in Pakistan actually changed my life, I must say. You know, just witnessing these the people there, the way they, you know, the way they bear their circumstances with a dignity and patience that we don't necessarily see here, and yet how they can be so generous despite the dire poverty.
But this wasn't very good for your career, was it, as a TV presenter in Germany? Can you perhaps talk a little bit about the reaction you had, perhaps from your own family, friends? Did anyone sort of think Kristiane's gone
Great step. Most people thought I went mad, absolutely. In fact, even the German public thought so. Because as soon as they found out when I converted in '95 that I'm a Muslim, I was sacked from my youth show. I was an award-winning TV presenter by then, and had won the equivalent of the BAFTA, you know, the German BAFTA, the Goldene Kammer. And as soon as they found out I'm a Muslim, one negative article after the next followed, and I felt like I was suddenly public enemy number one. You know, after 7 years of positive press, it was quite a shock. It was really traumatic. Every day I was being, you know, they were faxing me negative articles about me, you know, my production company in Germany, and my parents. So my parents also didn't know what was going on, you know. They were, of course, traumatized and a bit shocked.
Were they welcoming to you, or a little bit suspicious that maybe you were just doing this next trendy thing, or how were you
wasn't that
treated?
It wasn't that trendy, you know, Islam, I mean, as you know, the Muslims always welcomed me with open arms and really warmly, generally. You know, they love a Westerner taking up their religion, especially maybe from the entertainment business. They get a lot of Islam bashing, a lot of Paki bashing, and when someone talks with love about their culture and their religion, of course they're happy, you know, and it's genuine. It's always a very warm interaction that, you know, with Muslims. My parents didn't tell you, you know, they at first didn't understand why I had to take up this religion. They thought, oh well, maybe it's just another fad, but you know, another thing, you know, that's going to be gone soon. But now they also realize how much it means to me, and in fact how it has benefited me. I've become, I would say, a more considerate family member now. You know, they notice I've become perhaps a slightly less egocentric person and less, a more considerate, more conscientious person. So they see it does me good.
Don't you think in large part Muslims themselves are to blame for the image they have in the West and what they're doing to one another? And
Well, yes.
It's like with Israel right now. I mean, they're complaining, Jewish community is complaining that there is too much anti-Semitism, and it's really a border.
Well, I mean, let's not get into the Israel-Palestine problem, but but for example, the innocence of Muslims, that awful film, a joke of a film, ludicrous, not even a proper film, and then Muslims react like a bunch of lunatics. But actually, it was only 0.01% who acted like that. And of course, the media has to feature them as if that's the reaction of all the Muslims, and that's the bit of a shame. I mean, no Muslim should react in an aggressive or bizarre manner, trying to defend our wonderful Prophet, peace be upon him, in a completely unprophetic way.
Yeah.
That's very wrong.
People were killed, weren't they?
Exactly, it was totally outrageous. So yeah, Muslims are to blame.
But the media will never ignore them.
No.
Because they're a minority, people will always film the loudest,
Yes.
craziest people.
You see, but then it would be so nice if the media could also feature some voices of reason. After all, remember, if there are 1.5 billion Muslims and 0.01% react like a bunch of lunatics, why do we only see them all over worldwide television and not the vast majority of people who think, oh, they're mad, this film is nonsense, let's just get on with it, do something different.
Comment about the book.
Marvelous. Great book. I've read half of it so far.
You need to read it completely. Well, my name is Taha Qureshi, Chairman of the Forum on International Relations Development. Why we are supporting this book? We financially supported this book to get it published, really. When Kristiane and I met really 2.5 years ago, she wanted to publish this book. As she said rightly, nobody was willing to publish it. And I said to her, fine, let's just go and I'll just make the full payment, get it published. After 1 year we met again, and she has the same problem.
I had 2 publishers by then, and they didn't have the money.
So she says, right, Brother Taha, what do we do? I said, well, I told you last year, let's go and I'll make the payment, get it published. Alhamdulillah, we got it published. Now, what is this? Why did we support this book? It is a very good story. It doesn't just talk about Islam. It talks about culture, it talks about values, it talks about men, women, and very strangely, it counters radicalization. And I think the British government and European government really pick up on this very important point. This book is not only for the non-Muslims, it is for young Muslims particularly. They should read this book, and it will automatically, unknowingly, it will counter radicalization, what the biggest problem we are facing now. And just a little comment about media, what Liz said about Taliban, for example. I'm not condoning what they did, but there is no evidence that rape rate went high when Taliban were running Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, crime rate went very down when Taliban were running, and this is on the record. So this is just what media hide, what we see. That is one point. And in India, you mentioned that probably there is no agitation, there is no...
no agitation. The whole country is not in chaos.
Well, in certain parts, there is a big chaos. We are in chaos in Pakistan, or the borders of Pakistan and Afghanistan, because Western media is there, Western countries are there. This is where there is a huge interest of Western world in that particular strip. And this is what we see. We can... When we move out of that strip, the attention will divert to somewhere else now. So it is not as what we read or see on the media.
In other words, don't believe everything that the media is saying or doing. Media is a 24/7 business now. It impacts greatly everyday people's lives, and people do absorb quite a lot of things that are said in the media, and therefore media has to be responsible, and they have to be democratic, and they have to be factual.
Thank you, Abbey.
Thank
Factual.
you.
Ask my heart. my heart, my empty fool, till I shine for a bit of you.
Mika Gallery, where we have been in conversation, Liz Jones with Kristiane Backer, talking about her book From MTV to Mecca. Liz Jones, thank you for coming here today.
Yeah, pleasure, thank you.
Can I ask, what prompted you to come here and have a conversation with Kristiane Backer about the book?
I've known Kristiane quite a few years, but I used to watch her on MTV, and I read her book, and I just found it was a very non-scary introduction to Islam for someone who knows nothing about it. So I just really wanted to talk to her about her whole experience, really, and how we can change the perception of Islam in the media, because obviously I'm in the media.
Do you still work for the Daily Mail?
Yes, yeah.
And how do you think the media portrayal in the Daily Mail is towards Muslims?
I think there are many more Muslim writers nowadays, Muslim women who are writing. I do think that is changing, and I think that will continue to change with more online comments, blogging. I don't think there's just one opinion. It's not as easy to have propaganda these days. It's much harder, which is a good thing.
Do you think slowly Islamophobia is being eradicated?
That would be too much of a sweeping statement, I think. I don't know, but it's something the media is addressing. I mean, look at Homeland. It's one of the most popular programs on television. It's at the centre of it. It's this sort of anti-hero, and you see him praying with his forehead on the ground, and that's mainstream America. So that must mean something. That it's portrayed in quite a complex way. He's not a villain. He's not a hero. So I think that's quite new as well.
And how did you find Kristiane's book?
The reason I liked Kristiane's book was because it wasn't preaching. It was really just saying what happened to her. It wasn't a doctrine. It wasn't saying you have to be this way. It was purely her choice.
And how have you found this event tonight with all the questions and answers? What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. And the main thing that I heard from people is everyone is so friendly, they want people to see what Islam is really about, not just the headlines. So that's been quite interesting for me.
And are you going to be writing about Kristiane's book in the Daily Mail?
No, I don't think I am going to, but no, I will give her a little line on her jacket if she wants one.
But thank you for, your help towards positive projection of Islam and promoting the book for Kristiane. Thank you so much for coming here.
Yeah, thank you.
And we had a wonderful evening tonight where you were in conversation with Liz Jones from the Daily Mail. How was that?
I thought it was brilliant. She asked so many very good questions. Very sensitive. I'm so touched. She even read my book, and teased out some of the issues. And it was a wonderful crowd, very receptive, and a lot of question and answer. We could have gone on for another half an hour or an hour. I think people were just really into it.
It was a very different crowd today from your usual crowd, different types of questions, and I think you really helped in promoting an understanding of Islam amongst a lot of non-Muslims who were here tonight. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm so grateful that some of my old friends came, and also some of the Chelsea crowd, or just people who are doing a PhD on transformational stories and so on. It was a very interesting crowd. I agree. I'm touched, and I'm really happy. And of course a lot of Muslims as well, and some local Muslims. I think even they, came up to me and said, "Oh, we learned so much, and we need to do more of this." And I got some invitations, because as a convert, you are sometimes, left out, as you well know. I told you, So it was very well received. I'm glad this lady Natasha is doing something as well to bring societies together, Muslims and non-Muslims. So I think it actually, highlighted a lot of issues that we all face at this talk, and hopefully it will make people think and do something positive about these things.
And you're right, it was such a different blend of crowd here today. And in Chelsea at the Mika Gallery, wonderful location,
Yes.
wonderful ambience.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Kristiane, for doing this and letting people again share your experience of this wonderful journey that
Thank you. And one important point that was mentioned was the need for more Muslims in the media. More people like you and Nabil who work in the media, who get out there, because we need to. That's what Liz Jones said. I think that is very important.
Well, I think we need you back in the media.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Babak Hemamian. I'm the chairman of British Iranian Business Association.
And how did you come to be here tonight?
I was interested in the subject because the subject mainly is about integration between a community of men and women. Now, the world has a problem with integration. We try to separate races, genders, different religions, because it's much easier to control people if you are categorizing and you are separating them. But putting everything together, that's when it becomes hard work. The hard work starts when it comes with integration. And I thought the subject of evening was about integration between men and women, different races, different religions, and everything else.
My name is Aisha. I came along today to the event at the Misha Gallery in Knightsbridge. There was an audience with Kristiane Backer and Liz Jones. It was a really beautiful evening, a very informative evening, and I've read Kristiane's book, found it very difficult to put it down, and I think that it's really important to communicate this message to a wider audience, particularly I would imagine to young girls who are really very much the target of many media campaigns, just to make people think about what they're doing. I think Kristiane's story is a very powerful one.
It was energizing, it was innovative, a lot of interesting questions being asked by Liz Jones from the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. She's a clever lady with hard-hitting questions, and I thought the questions were real, contemporary, and I think Kristiane, on the other hand, rose to the occasion. I think she handled the questions very well. She's inspiring.
It was a very stimulating discussion tonight, I think.
Absolutely. And to have young people engaged in such dialogue and communication, I think is exemplary of the 21st century.
Basically, I'd been reading Kristiane Backer's book, and it came at a very specific time in my life when I was also asking certain questions about life, and also in relation to my PhD, which is on the religious transformational experience.
You've been helping Kristiane Backer with promoting her book and the book sales, and you're here again tonight. How was this event?
It was lovely, it was very nice, and it's turned out to be a great success and a great turnout.
And are you enjoying this journey with Kristiane in traveling, meeting people, hearing stimulating discussions, and then the joy of people reading this book?
Yes, definitely people come to me with several questions, and I'm learning by their questions and by the experience of the events. And it's, mashallah, picking up, and people are getting really inspired, and the word is spreading around.
I'm here at Mika Gallery to support one of my dear friends, Kristiane Backer. We've just finished a talk with Liz Jones interviewing her, which was utterly intellectual and engrossing.
Thank you so much for coming here tonight. How did you come to be here at Kristiane's event?
Well, it was interesting. We played a gig in Birmingham where Kristiane had come to do a book launch, and we had played there, and so we had connected. And then she was organising this event, and I know that she was a bit stuck for the entertainment. And she had sent a message. She didn't have my contact details. She sent a message to a friend, and we ended up at the same event somewhere on the same day she'd sent the message. I didn't know. She collared me, said, "Look, would you play? And
She obviously heard you guys and was very impressed, and that's how you came to be here tonight. Is that right?
Yeah.
How long have you been together as a band?
we've been playing live for about 4 years. Our first sort of debut performance was in front of no less than Jermaine Jackson, which was a difficult debut to do.
What did he make of it? Did he say?
I spent the day with him afterwards, and he gave us loads of great advice. So, and from that, really, we just started working really hard at it. And
So, do you have his number on your speed dial?
I do actually.
Could I have it? Well, this is great. And how would you describe your music?
Well, there's lots of influences. It's definitely cross-culture because you have Western style guitar, which is not often used in South Asian music, along with tabla and bass and vocals. So it's very much a cultural mix as well in the writing and the lyrics, and so which is very reflective of ourselves, being second-generation Muslims, and one of us is a revert to Islam. So it's very much a reflection of our more complex culture, and culture is not a simple thing. It's not a case of one size fits all. Everyone has a unique culture. So
It's certainly a joy to listen to, and thank you so much for coming here to play tonight. Thank you.